All right, so a bit of an emergency video today. I am really pissed off. You should be pissed off as well. The tech billionaires at the last minute called up Trump and convinced him to delay the executive order that he was going to put in place that would just make it so that the government can test AI models before they're allowed to be released to make sure, they don't help people build a bioweapon. They don't go rogue and kill people. Really minimal stuff. And the likes of David Sacks, Mark Zuckerberg, they called him up because they can't live with that. So this executive order, it looked like things were going pretty well. The Trump administration has been really spooked by the capabilities of Claude Mythos. They met with China. They have set up international dialogue between the two countries. We looks like we were about to get this executive order that would begin the pushback from the government against these evil AI companies that are trying to replace us all and build self-improving super intelligences that they admit could kill us all, right? So we were in a position to actually get some regulation for the first time. But these suicidal, megalomaniacal, genocidal billionaires can't live with that. So they called him up at the last minute. No one else in Trump's administration knew that these calls were happening. So it was David Sacks, his former AI czar, and another tech billionaire. It was Elon Musk, and it was Mark Zuckerberg. They called him up and they started fear-mongering about China. And they said, oh no, if you have this put in place, you're going to crush innovation and we're going to lose to China. What does it mean to beat China, to build self-improving super intelligences that don't care about humans and probably kill us all? How does that mean we're beating China? These guys just don't think 2 steps ahead in the future, and their actions are threatening your life. They are threatening my life, and they're threatening their lives as well. They are so stupid. They can't see past their nose. They're just trying to add another zero on the end of their net worth, and they can't think about the consequences of literally building super intelligent machines. Obviously, that could go bad for us. Obviously, we can't trust for-profit companies to do that responsibly. Obviously, the government should step in and say, okay, we're going to make sure this model is safe before you're allowed to release it. Given that, the top experts are saying they could literally kill us all, right? Just as the FDA makes sure a drug is safe before it's allowed to be released to market. We should have the exact same thing with AI models, which have the potential to be far more dangerous than any drug could ever be, right? So David Sacks called up President Trump and said, oh, the companies are already cooperating, so we don't need any law that enforces that and makes it mandatory. We've already had Google DeepMind here in the UK. They had a voluntary agreement, right? They signed on to this international agreement to make sure their models are safe, release the model cards and stick to some kind of safety protocol. And they broke that at the first opportunity, right? How can we trust companies to stick to voluntary commitments? They've already broken them. Right? We've already had the likes of Anthropic change their safety policy so that they don't fall behind, right? If you allow these companies to continue this race dynamic, which is what they all think they're involved in, they're going to run away without any care for safety, for the safety of every human on the planet, because they just want to release the next model and win this stupid game that they have invented. And Sacks says that having the federal government review models before their public release would slow down innovation and harm the US in its race with China. We've already seen China has far more stringent AI safety laws than the US does. They seem to not be as interested in this race to superintelligence that as American companies are. And they have called time and time again at the UN in private meetings for international cooperation and international regulation to stop this technology escaping human control, right? So you can't just keep pointing at China and say, oh, if we do anything here to make sure, AI doesn't fucking kill people, then China are just gonna win. It doesn't matter who wins this race. If anyone builds self-improving, uncontrollable superintelligence, everyone, everywhere on Earth will die. It doesn't matter if it's a Chinese AI. It doesn't matter if it's American AI. It's so stupid. These people just can't think 2 steps ahead. Do you really think that when we're all in heaven after we've been killed and we're looking down at our corpses, we're all going to say, oh yeah, it was really good that it was an American AI that killed us all rather than a Chinese one? That would have been really bad, wouldn't it? Why does it matter what country gets there first? We need an international pause. We need to stop the development of superintelligence. Look, this is from David Sacks himself. In November 2023, he said, AI is a wonderful tool for the betterment of humanity. AGI is a potential successor species. That's David Sacks himself. He's now deleted that tweet, by the way. Elon Musk agreed with him. Elon Musk has been warning about this for a while. David Sacks is acutely aware of the fact that building machines that match and surpass human intelligence could kill us all. He's acutely aware of that. He's now pretending that the problem doesn't exist. He is an anti-science denialist that is going to kill us all if he gets his way. What makes it all the more ridiculous is that this executive order wasn't even going to put the voluntary agreements on a statutory footing. So it wasn't even mandatory, right? So these are just voluntary agreements that AI companies have already signed up to. the executive order was just putting that in writing, and David Sacks still has a problem with it. Mark Zuckerberg still has a problem with it. It's just ridiculous. You can't reason with these guys. That's what people need to understand. You can't negotiate with them. They just want no regulation. They want to accelerate and accelerate, accelerate. They will deny every risk. They will ignore the warnings of every expert. They don't give a shit. They have just lost the plot. And if we don't stop them, we're all going to face the consequences. Now, Trump himself, right? I don't know how old he is. He's 80 years old. He's not particularly mentally sound, right? Let's be honest, regardless of whether you like him or not. He doesn't really have a clue what's going on, especially with AI, right? So he's just listening to what people around him are saying. You do have people in the Trump administration, like Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, who have been spooked by Claude Mythos. They are scared about his capabilities, and they understand the need for both international dialogue with China to prevent these risks and regulation at home to make sure that these models don't, go rogue, hack into critical infrastructure, destroy the economy. They don't help someone to build a bioweapon that could kill millions, right? Scott Bessent understands that. Many other people in the Trump administration understand that, regardless whether whatever your politics are, right? It's not difficult to understand this. And Trump, there were some signs that he was kind of listening to those concerns. But David Sacks comes in at the last minute and says, oh, no, don't listen to them because then we'll lose to China. Which is an argument that makes no sense. That the lose to China narrative has been manufactured by AI companies to discourage regulation and encourage investment into their companies, right? It doesn't make any sense. As we've said, it might be the case that the fate of humanity is decided by the current battle that is going on within the Republican Party, within MAGA, within the Trump administration, between those who have a couple brain cells left and they can see that allowing AI companies to race to build increasingly powerful models with no regulation is suicide. People can understand that. The likes of Steve Bannon and many other figures on the right, many other politicians, elected senators understand that, and they've begun to warn about that. And this weird accelerationist cancer that has latched itself on to this Trump administration and refuses to let go. If the sensible people do not win and regulation starts to be put in place, everyone on earth could die. And that is not an exaggeration. Those are the warnings of the top experts. Mark Zuckerberg was one of the people that allegedly called Trump here and convinced him to drop the executive order. He has spoke about superintelligence as if, everyone's going to have a personal superintelligence in their pocket and it's just going to be this nice assistant, this nice little tool. You don't know what superintelligence means, Mark Zuckerberg. Superintelligence means AI that is smarter than the entirety of humanity put together, right? And if you think that will just go fine by default, and we don't need very stringent measures in place to, in my opinion, stop that from happening before we have the appropriate and adequate understanding of how to control it, and until we have a solution to the alignment problem. But even failing that, just some minimal regulation to make sure that the worst of these AI companies does not prevail. I don't know if he doesn't understand that or he refuses to understand that, but he's just lost the plot, man. These people, I do not understand what is going on in their heads. Do they not understand that if we build self-improving superintelligence, that means there is a significant chance that everyone on Earth will be killed? And everyone on Earth, that means Mark Zuckerberg himself. That means Elon Musk himself. That means David Sacks himself. And it means all of their family and all of their kids. Like, do they think they will be safe if superintelligent AI decides it doesn't want to keep us around anymore? Do they think that they will be safe? Do they really think that all of the wealth and power that they have amassed in their lifetime will somehow stop superintelligent AI from killing them? Do they somehow think that they will be spared because they will be able to use their resources to somehow manage an army of AIs that can fight back? No. If we build a new superintelligent species and it doesn't care about us, we just die. That's it. And that includes these stupid billionaires who can't understand that or refuse to understand that. Now, in the interest of fairness, I will just mention that Elon Musk was one of the people that allegedly called Trump to convince him to drop this. And he denies this, right? So, I don't know who to believe there, but he does deny that he was one of the people that convinced Trump to drop the executive order. And in fact, they only talked after Trump had already decided to drop it. Luckily, according to Shakil Hashim, who's a journalist that covers AI topics, the other people in the Trump administration are really pissed off with David Sacks. They don't like how he just bypassed all of their previous talks and convinced Trump to drop this order at the last second. And in general, as we said, we are seeing a clear split on the American right within MAGA. And David Sacks and his actions, as are the actions of all AI accelerationists and the AI industry in general, are turning people away. They are not talking any sense. You can't have this race to superintelligence with no regulation. Everyone understands that. If you ask anyone on the street, all of the polling that we've had indicates that people support very stringent AI safety measures. They support a pause on the technology. The majority of people support a pause. They think it's going way too fast. They don't trust AI companies and AI CEOs to get this right. And they are worried about the extinction threat of AI. So we currently see the Republicans are unlikely to win the next election. The Democrats are ahead in the prediction markets. And in no small part, that is because of their acceptance of this extinctionist, accelerationist ideology. And if they don't remove that from their ranks, if they don't get rid of the likes of David Sacks, then they're going to struggle electorally, because not just because of the extinction risk, but for a variety of reasons. People hate AI, and that hatred is only growing. And that is because, you see Peter Thiel, who can't answer a question directly about whether he wants humanity to stay around or not. We saw Mark Andreessen the other day dreaming about a world in which you don't have humans who have HR problems and take time off, and you can just do all your work as a CEO with an army of AIs, right? This language is poison. People hear it and they hate it, and for good reason, right? So you are not going to be able to win an election if you allow these people to have any influence over your movement, over your party, over your administration. So I don't want to paint a picture of inevitable doom here. There is a serious problem. We do face an extinction threat. The top experts, Jeffrey Hinton, says there is a greater than 50% chance that we will all be killed. Literally every single one of us will be annihilated by superintelligent AI if it's allowed to be built. And if you look at the timelines of AI experts, they are saying 2030 or before is when AI companies will build superintelligence on our current trajectory, right? So the situation is incredibly urgent. We need to take action. We need to stop the likes of David Sacks from throwing 300,000 years of human history down the drain because he's so stupid that he can't understand that building AI that's better than us at everything could kill us all. You have to have something wrong up here to not understand that. The vast majority of people do understand that. And the movement against AI more broadly, and the movement to stop these accelerationist idiots who are trying to replace humanity and kill us all, that movement is growing. We can stop these people, but let's not get complacent. So this is a call to action. I always leave links in my description for you to call your political representatives and to join Pause AI, the activist group. Do whatever you can, whatever is within your power, whatever resources you have available to you, use them. Don't look away from this issue. The only way that these guys can win is if we're not paying attention and if the public are left uninformed. So do not turn away. Stare this issue in the face. Do not let these accelerationist bastards get away with threatening the lives of you and your family and ultimately causing human extinction. Don't let them get away with it. We can win this. They need to be stopped. These guys have just lost the plot. They are evil. I do not use that word lightly. These people are evil. They lie repeatedly. They downplay the risks. And if they get away, we are all going to die. But the future is not yet written. We write it, and we can write a story in which these guys are thrown out of power and they no longer have any influence, and serious, normal people can implement regulation to stop these risks that the experts warn us about. So yeah, do not despair. We can stop these guys, and I'll see you in the next video.